Good evening. Coming up tonight.
2 South Carolina high school students could be expelled after a viral social media post. Find out why their conduct is attracting national attention.
The COVID-19 case tracker was updated both statewide and on campus today. Details on the rising number of cases in South Carolina are coming up.
The Senate made waves this week with the confirmation of a new cabinet secretary, how Deb Haaland is making U.S. history in her new role.
But first, breaking news on Columbia's mask ordinance.
All that and more tonight on SGTV Nightly News.
Live from the Kennedy Greenhouse studio, this is SGTV Nightly News.
Good evening, Carolina. I'm Brianna Rao.
And I'm Callista Pushman. Thanks for joining us tonight. Moments ago, the city of Columbia extended its mask ordinance for an additional 60 days. The mask mandate will now last until May 15th, but the council can still re-examine their decision anytime before the 60 days are up. The decision came just after Governor Henry McMaster lifted the requirement of masks in state buildings on March 5th. For the time being, the city of Columbia will continue having its citizens wear a mask in all public places within the city limits.
Members of the South Carolina Black Activist Coalition held a press conference that called for Berkeley County School District officials to expel 2 students involved in the viral social media post mocking the death of George Floyd. The post depicted a teenager kneeling on the neck of another teenager who was lying on the ground, and the caption read, "I can't breathe." The South Carolina Black Activist Coalition has asked the Berkeley community to address the issue of racial bias within the school system.
The total number of COVID-19 cases for the state of South Carolina is at 534,000, which is an increase of 767. There were also 3 new deaths, bringing the total to 8,878. Moving to campus cases as of this afternoon, new cases are up by 8, bringing the current total active cases to 67. However, the percent positive rate increased from 0.75 to 0.8%. The current COVID-19 alert level on campus remains at new normal.
She's done it before, and now she's doing it again. Deb Haaland continues to break barriers, becoming the first Native American to serve in presidential cabinet. The Senate voted 51 to 40 to confirm Haaland as the new Secretary of the Interior. Haaland will now resign from her current position as U.S. Representative for New Mexico's 1st Congressional District. Haaland has also made history back in 2018 when she was the first female Native American to serve in Congress, alongside Sheriff Davis.
Longtime Fire Chief Dominic Manera was fired by York City Manager Seth Duncan for demonstrating a pattern of dishonesty and lack of good judgment. Manera was York's fire chief since 1994, and his sudden firing has sparked great backlash from both within and outside of the fire department. The volunteer fire department in the York County town of McConnells posted to Facebook, writing, "We here at MVFD support you, Chief, and cannot thank you enough for all that you've done to help our organization." Despite the calls for Manera's reinstatement, Duncan still stands by his decision, saying that Manera, quote, "has lost my trust and confidence as Chief of York Fire Department, making a permanent and immediate separation unavoidable."
The Vatican's doctrine of faith just affirmed the Church's long-standing belief that priests cannot bless same-sex marriages. The decree states that a priest cannot impart a blessing on relationships or partnerships, even stable, that involve sexual activity outside of marriage. The decree caused an uproar from LGBTQ+ communities around the world, and a number of Catholic groups and advocacy organizations have urged Pope Francis to reconsider the decree.
2 South Carolina-based companies have been permanently banned from debt collection by the Federal Trade Commission this week. National Landmark Logistics and Absolute Financial Services, both based out of Fort Mill, were found to have been threatening individuals with lawsuits and arrests in order to collect fake debt. The debt in question had already been paid off, or in some cases never existed. A settlement agreement with the FTC includes over $11 million for victims of the scheme, but is suspended until the defendants can pay in full.
Next up, Nick Close will give updates on the NSAA basketball tournament, so stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm hearing that the Winthrop basketball team may be the underdogs in the NCAA tournament. Let's check in with our sports anchor, Nick Close, to give us the details. Nick?
Thanks, Callista. The 12-seed Winthrop Eagles are coming into the NCAA tournament looking to be the next great Cinderella story. While the Eagles are no strangers to being overlooked with a 23-1 record in a historic regular season, they have not gotten near the attention they have deserved. Winthrop's point guard Chandler Vaudrin was Big South Player of the Year and leads the nation in triple-doubles. But like his team, he has always flown under the radar. Vaudrin was unranked out of high school and started his career at the Division II level at Walsh University. After a successful career there, he decided it was time to move on and show his talents to the world. Winthrop coach Pat Kelsey recruited Vaudrin, saying that if he joined the Eagles, it would be his team now. Now Vaudrin has led the Eagles to another Big South championship and will look to prove that they belong in March Madness as they play the 5-seed Villanova on Friday. Now the women's NCAA tournament had their selection show last night, and the Gamecocks have secured a #1 seed and will play 16-seed Mercer. This bracket reveal comes a year after the cancellation of the 2020 NCAA tournament due to COVID-19, where South Carolina was widely expected to be the #1 overall seed and the favorite to win the national championship. Now it's 2021 and the Gamecocks are still contenders, but not as dominant as they were in the previous season. This year, also in their region are 2-seed Maryland, 3-seed UCLA, and 4-seed West Virginia. The winner of the Gamecocks' first-round matchup will play the winner of 8-seed Oregon State and 9-seed Florida. And now for South Carolina football recruiting update, offensive tackle Grayson Maines of Suwanee, Georgia, has included South Carolina in his top 3 along with Tennessee and Michigan State. Maines is a 3-star talent in the class of 2022, and even though USC coach Shane Beamer and offensive line coach Greg Atkins came into his recruitment late, Maines says that the school and the program has everything he's looking for. He has done a virtual visit to the campus and facilities, but plans to visit the campus in person later this month. Maines plans to visit Michigan State and Tennessee as soon as possible, and that there is no favorite among his top 3. That's all we have for sports in South Carolina tonight. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nick. After the break, it's Bachelor Monday, and the last episode came with some serious surprises. We'll have all the tea, so stick with us.
Welcome back, Carolina. Bachelor Monday kept everyone on their edge of their seats. Let's hit up reporters Sloan O'Con and Peter Smith to see what's happening in entertainment. Sloan?
Thanks, Brianna. Well, I'm going to need some more Monday night plans now, because last night Matt's journey to find love came to an end, not only with his time as The Bachelor, but quite literally. He sent home Michelle without closure and couldn't get down on one knee for Rachel, but wanted to keep things going. We learned a little later that after the controversy surrounding Rachel's past racial insensitivity, the two had broken up. Matt hopes she can use this experience to educate herself, but the possibility of getting back together is nay. Heartbroken Rachel is using the experience to learn and says she doesn't see herself loving someone else. The night ended on a positive note with the announcement of our next Bachelorette, or should I say Bachelorettes. Katie and Michelle are taking over for season 17 and 18 to find their hubby. I have to say I'm very excited to see both Michelle and Katie take over, but kind of upset that there will not be any paradise.
Absolutely. I think we're getting robbed, and I think they didn't even bring it to attention. They were just like, oh my gosh, here are your 2 bachelorettes making this huge announcement. I'm a big Paradise fan, and I feel a little played.
Me too. I would have given them my vaccine if that meant that they could go and do it.
Absolutely. It's what the people want to see. I think taking it back a little bit, we should mention how Rachel carried herself very well, and there were some very uncomfortable but important conversations that were held. And I think it was really nice to cap off the season with that moment.
Oh, I definitely agree. And I think that the temporary host, can't pronounce his name right now.
Emmanuel Acho.
Yes, did a great job of handling the whole entire situation, especially stepping into Bachelor Nation in such a crazy conversation. An important conversation, and I think he handled the night very well.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that is a wrap on our Bachelor rundowns for this, season of Tuesday Nightly News. But, always plenty of entertainment. I know the temperatures are starting to warm up, but my favorite season of the year isn't over just yet. Award season is continuing to heat up with the release of the Oscar nominations. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra Jonas shared the list of nominees, and it features a record number of 70 women. You can look forward to April 25th for the 93rd Oscars. I am so thrilled. Big fan of the Jonases. You know, love that they're getting a little bit more female representation in the nominations. I think it's great.
I think it's great. I feel like they're following after the Emmys on
The Grammys.
Sunday.
The
Grammys.
Yes.
Grammys.
It's been a long 2 days of the week. Grammys were great with representation.
Because they swept. The women swept, and it's all about the women. And unfortunately, a lot of Gamecock Entertainment has canceled a lot of their events this week because of the weather. But stay tuned next week because they have a lot planned. But that's all we have for you tonight. Back to Brianna and Callista.
Thank you, Peter and Sloan. Coming up after the break, Kaden Dinkins will have your weekly weather forecast, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Kaden Dinkins, your meteorologist for tonight. Let's get right into the weather headlines for this week. So starting tonight, there are showers before midnight. We're seeing a little bit of showers right now and then through until midnight. And then after that, there shouldn't be any until tomorrow. There's also a chance of showers tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And then a chance of thunderstorms on Thursday. Not a huge chance, but they are still going to be in the vicinity. And then partly sunny on Friday, which hopefully that'll stick around for us for the weekend. Moving on, the state highs of today. On the coast, it was a little bit warmer than in the upstate and the Midlands. We had 72 in Hilton Head, 70 in Charleston, but it got a little cooler, and Myrtle Beach about 57. It stayed in the high 50s in the Midlands area, and then as we got into the upstate, it got even chillier at 47 in Rock Hill and 49 in Greenwood, but there was a steady 51 in Greenville. All over the state, it was nice, cool, and rainy for us today. Moving on to this week, as I just said earlier, tomorrow, well, there will be a chance of showers, but a high of 66 and a low of 59. Those thunderstorms peak through on Thursday with a high of 75 and a low of 50, but that sun comes right out for us again with a high of 69 and a low of 38. On Saturday, we do have clear skies with a few clouds, but mostly clear, with a high of 58 and a low of 35. On Sunday, it is partly cloudy with a high of 62 and a low of 40. Monday will also be clear skies, and that'll stick around for a little bit, but then we'll jump right back into the rain. There will be a high of 69 and a low of 46 on Monday. Right now in Columbia, South Carolina, it is a high of 52, feels like 49 with the winds going northeast at 3 miles per hour, and there's an 80% relative humidity. It is rainy and cool, not super rainy for us right now, but it's misting a little bit with some sprinkles and showers, but that, like I said, that will only stick around until midnight tonight and then continue in the morning. And that is all I have for you guys tonight. Make sure to stay tuned for tonight's edition of Carolina Canines.
And finally, tonight's edition of Carolina Canines features Milo, who is actually my very own dog. Milo is a 2-month-old Australian Labradoodle who just got to his new home in Philadelphia Sunday night. He is a big snuggler, especially with his stuffed koala bear, Cody. He also loves to play and watch Netflix with his new mom and dad. Now, sadly, I'm here in South Carolina while my new puppy's up in Philadelphia, but I get all the videos in the world, all the video chats. Aww. It's wonderful, and so I'm excited to get back home and see you, Milo, if you're tuning in tonight.
So glad to hear. Are you planning on putting him into any dog shows?
Oh, he's going to be pretty enough for it, I hope. And that's all we have for tonight's edition of SGTV Nightly News.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC to keep up with everything you need to know locally on campus. Be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV Nightly News, I'm Brianna Rao.
And I'm Callista Pushman. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to be.